reiterates commitment to peaceful polls in the December elections, pledging his utmost respect for democratic processes as he exits.
That our democracy will remain steadfast and unshaken. The right to free and fair elections is non-negotiable.
Also coming up in the bulletin, businessman Ibrahim Mahama comes to the aid of 10-year-old cancer patient after EIB Networks reports.
We contacted the family. That was last week. We started the documentation. That's their traveling documents. We needed to put everything together. And also, we got in touch with our team in South Africa.
Get Fund Administrator Dr. Richard Ampofubuedo rebuffs assertions that government has turned a blind eye to the plight of schools on the trees, arguing that aid is given on a need-based assessment.
It doesn't mean that we are not trying to fight that. We do a need-based assessment and then we give financial clearance.
Also coming up in the bulletin, education in Jabing in the Ashanti region to grind to a halt as Minister for Education announces a shutdown of schools due to poor or dilapidated infrastructure.
Once you put that building up there, you're able to move students from 7 junior high schools and they come there. So when we commission Jabing, for example, like the Sunyani one, we are going to shut down all the old junior high schools at Jabing. We're moving them into a new building with biology, chemistry, and physics lab.
We've got details of all of these stories and more coming up for you here on the Starr Midday News. Do stay tuned.
Starr News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Zeps 95.9 FM in Zebila, Nissim 100.1 FM in Lamshao, My Star Radio in the USA, also live on Facebook on Starr 103.5 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Starr 103.5 FM, Starr News. Informed, in depth, in touch.
Thank you very much for joining us here on the Starr Midday News. My name is Lantam Papanko. Now, businessman Ibrahim Mahama has come to the aid of 10-year-old Lisa Lai, who is battling stage 4 acute myeloid leukemia, and the child needs $110,000 for a life-saving treatment. Her family, overwhelmed by medical expenses, appealed for support to be given to Lisa to be able to fight the cancer. My colleague Awisi Dedejange has the rest of the story.
Now imagine being at work, receiving a call from your ward school informing you that your child is running a temperature. She has body aches. And casually, you take your child to a pharmacy and later to a hospital, hoping to run some field tests, hoping that the situation turns out to be malaria or fever. But now 72 hours later, you are informed that your child has stage 4 acute myeloid leukemia that needs urgent treatment that costs about $110,000. Well, this is the story of 10-year-old Lisa, who is currently battling for her life and urgently needs money for her treatment. I spoke to her mother, and this is what her mother had to say.
Within a space of 2 weeks, our life has changed drastically. I am praying help comes. According to her doctors, AML has become the second most commonest type of cancer in children, or the commonest type of leukemia. A lot of kids are being diagnosed with AML in Ghana. Exactly. So I don't know what might be the cause. Lisa needs 2 million South African rand, which is 110,000 USD for the treatment, and that excludes the bone marrow transplant. That's also another cost on its own.
Lisa, like my sister rightly stated, never showed any signs. As per the symptoms we were given, she never showed any signs aside the tiredness.
And that's how we see the Janga's report there. Well, the good news is that businessman Ibrahim Mahama has come to the aid of the 10-year-old girl. His aide, Rafiq Mahama, has been speaking to Star News about the assistance Mr. Ibrahim Mahama has to offer.
We also what calculated with regards to the flyer and the amount involved, which is they mentioned 100,000 USD or plus.
110,000 USD.
Yes. So as we speak, even now it may even be more than that, but we just put it around that figure, and we contacted the family. That was last week, and we started the documentation. That's their traveling documents. We needed to put everything together, and also we got in touch with our team in South Africa to also notify them about the case we have here, and we also got in touch with the doctors here as well, and I spoke to the doctor in charge at the Rich Hospital who was handling the Lisa's case. So she explained everything, and also we decided to. The advice that they gave was that we needed to get a doctor to accompany Lisa because of her situation. So we decided to do the arrangement. So we are flying, that's Lisa and the doctor, and also the mother as well, and the auntie. So they'll be leaving town today, and we hope that by God's grace, everything will go well. Yeah.
So you're flying them to South Africa, is that the case?
Yes, we are flying them to South Africa today. They are leaving town later in the day. Yeah.
You said you contacted your team in South Africa. It obviously goes to say that this is not the first time you're doing this. But
Yes.
what prompts yourself and your boss and your team to do these things?
It's something that my boss, he has that empathy towards humanity. That's Mr. Ibrahim Mahama. When he sees such he always gives instruction. When he sees it, he will say, okay, go ahead. It's not about the money, but it's about making sure that the person is getting better treatment and save the life of anybody involved in such situation. We've done so many of these cases, especially when it comes to very delicate and very expensive cases like this. I mean, most of them, because they are not media-centered story, so they are not out there. But they're only media-centered ones. But we have a lot of success stories to tell when it comes to these delicate issues, and some of them, they come out after what they go through. They will come out and testify what really happened, and it's something that we know is, by God's grace, is going to go well with regards to Lisa as well. Yeah.
Rafiq Mahama is aide to Ibrahim Mahama, speaking to my colleague Lily Mohammed earlier on the Morning Star. And this is a clear case of EIB getting results after highlighting the plight of this young 10-year-old girl. And this is something that we are happy about. Now, the Minister for Education, Dr. Yao Osei Educhum, has served notice that some public junior high schools will be shut down over poor infrastructure. Now, this follows the commissioning of over 80 schools across the country. Now, this initiative seeks to enhance access to quality education by providing modern facilities tailored to meet the diverse needs of Ghanaian students. Now, the Minister for Education and MP for Busumtrin, Dr. Yao Osei Educhum, has been speaking during the commissioning of the 80 schools here in Accra. And currently, as we speak, that celebration or that program is ongoing. Listen to the Education Minister.
Once you put that building up there, you're able to move students from 7 junior high schools and they come there. So when we commission jobbing, for example, like the Sunyani one, we are going to shut down all the old junior high schools at jobbing. We are moving them into a new building with biology, chemistry, and physics lab, and computer lab, and robotics lab. Everything is there at the junior high school level. It's total transformation of our junior high school system. So the one you see at Sunyani is one of those schools that take over 1,500 students, and you're able, yes, and you're able to bring in students from about 7 junior high schools. So in the case of Sunyani, they are moving some students from Ridge, and then they've also created avenue for other parents who may want to educate their children
so,
there.
Minister, this one is only located in Sunyani, or
the Sunyani Ridge area.
But beyond Sunyani, do you have others in the
other regions, but not in Bono.
Okay.
Yeah, so we did a model ones for different locations in different regions. So, of course, Our goal is that for you to transform junior high schools, communities don't need 7 junior high schools. Some of them are 50 students, 80 students, 100 students. You bring them together under one umbrella so you can give them a library.
And that's Education Minister Dr. Yao Osei Educhum. Now, the Get Fund Administrator, Dr. Richard Ampofo Buadu, has rebuffed assertions that government has turned a blind eye to the plight of schools under trees. Nearly 5,000 schools are reported to be under trees, highlighting the need to safeguard basic education. But speaking to Sewami here on GH Today earlier, Dr. Buadu explains that the terminology encompasses schools also in mud huts and dilapidated buildings. And he says although it's in excess of 1,500 basic school projects, some school projects have been done, and aid is given to these schools on a need-based assessment.
You can get students maybe for some reason, and even a populated area like Kumasi, there was a time that students were actually learning under trees, but it's a generic term, schools under tree, where there's a deprivation or something of that, all of them are classified as schools under tree.
But you acknowledge that there are actually some students who learn under trees.
Definitely, but if you put it as schools under tree, it may somebody will get the idea that all those buildings that we are doing are for students that you go physically and then see them learning under tree. But it's a generic term, and if you look at what we have here, 1,501. It's basic school based on need assessment. So
and within a span of how many years?
For since 2017.
Since you became the administrator.
Yeah, 1,501. It's the same basic school that we are providing. But if we don't call it schools under tree, it doesn't mean that we are not trying to fight that. We do a need-based assessment, and then we give financial clearance. So somebody may call it schools under tree. They've stopped building schools under tree, but it's the same thing. It's based on need assessment, and then we provide.
Now, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo says he will not in any way interfere with the upcoming polls, pledging his unflinching commitment to the democratic processes as he exits. The December 7 polls have been characterized with accusations and counter-accusations of rigging from the leading political parties. But speaking at the second Ghana Health Service Excellence Awards, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo said that Ghana's democracy will remain steadfast and unshaken before, during, and after the December 7 elections.
It has been an immense honor to serve the people of Ghana as president. As I come to the conclusion of my tenure, I want to reassure all Ghanaians that our democracy will remain steadfast and unshaken. The right to free and fair elections is non-negotiable, and I'm committed to ensuring that the will of the people prevails in every election. No ambitions of any politician or political party will ever compromise the peace and stability that we as a nation have worked so hard to build and enjoy. The peace of Ghana is a sacred trust, and I pledge that as I transition from office, I will do so with the utmost respect for our democratic processes, safeguarding the future of Ghana for generations to come.
Well, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo also urged health practitioners to consistently demonstrate the highest level of professionalism, emphasizing the critical role of the profession and what the profession does to human existence. There's more in the following report.
The Ghana Health Service Awards aim to promote excellence and motivation among health workers. Delivering the keynote address, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo stressed the importance of unwavering professionalism in the health sector.
It must be emphasized that these infrastructural and technological investments alone cannot guarantee the realization of universal health coverage. We need to guard against ethical lapses, indifference, and lack of compassion, which have no place in our healthcare system. Such conduct erodes public trust and diminishes the dignity of citizens. I urge all healthcare professionals to uphold the highest standards of professionalism, empathy, and loyalty.
Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kuma Abuaji, called for the institution of a Health Workers' Day to honor the invaluable contributions of health professionals, similar to Teachers and Farmers' Day.
These awardees embody the resilience, dedication, and the selflessness that drive our healthcare system forward and ensure its continued success. Your Excellency, it is important to stress that the remarkable sacrifices of our health workers truly deserve national recognition and deeper appreciation. While tonight's awards fulfill part of this obligation, I strongly advocate for the institution of a National Health Workers' Day.
And let's do it for her.
Vivian Opoku-Cheme, Principal Midwifery Officer and overall best winner, expressed gratitude to the Ghana Health Service and to the government for the honor. She encouraged her colleagues to strive for excellence.
All that I will say is God who has done it. Because if I look back at where I started my work, 34 good years in the pride area, all my colleagues, some are directors, but I'm still at the principal midwifery officer with passion. I do my work with passion. And the national and all the regions that I've worked, when they come to my facility, they call it a teaching hospital.
Award winners received various prizes, including brand new vehicle, motorcycles, refrigerators, television sets, and...
But I'm still at the principal midwifery officer with passion. I do my work with passion. And the national and all the regions that I've worked, when they come to my facility, they call it a teaching hospital.
Award winners received various prizes, including brand new vehicle, motorcycles, refrigerators, television sets, and laptops.
And that's my colleague Calvin Pyle's report there. Now, the National Democratic Congress has vowed to resist any military interference in the December election, saying they will protect the integrity of the polls at all costs. Commanding officer of the Achiase Jungle Warfare, Lieutenant Colonel Jacob Kujo, yesterday threatened to beat anyone who misbehaves during the upcoming general elections. Speaking at a peace concert organized by the Salvation Army Church Ghana in Achimada, Lieutenant Colonel Kujo urged voters to obey electoral laws and safeguard Ghana's stability. According to him, the military will intervene only when the Ghana Police Service invites them to help restore order.
I am telling you here that I will only come in this 7th December within the Achimansa enclave. When police tells me that they cannot, and when I come, I will not talk. I will beat you and the hell will leave you. I always want people to try me. So those of us seated here, any of you can try me on that day, or try any of my men on that day. When you go to the polling station, just cast your vote, go home, go and sleep. When it is 5 p.m., come, they will tell you where to stand. They will count for you. If you win, clap, go home. Then you will not have any problem with me and then my people. We are not going to sit down for just 2 or 3 people to distort the peace that Ghana is enjoying. That is why I don't vote. I don't want to belong to anybody, but I want to beat everybody. We have a duty as religion or religious heads, as security heads, as family heads, as individuals, to protect the good things that we have as a country. And the only good thing we have as a country now is the peace that we are enjoying. Because with the peace everything can go on. If we distort it now, nothing can go on. See, you will be hungry more than me. And it is a fact. Because when there is war, I will still feed. I will get food from everywhere because I'll come and beat you and collect your food. And I will feed. And it is a fact. I am hungry. You think if I see food with you and I have weapon, I will not kill you and take it. I will do. So it means that you will suffer more than me. And I don't want you to suffer. So I will beat the hell out of you. So please, if you want us to continue to live in peace, so that we can come around and then be talking to you and then be happy with you, then these elections, let's maintain the peace that we are enjoying.
You've just listened to Lieutenant Colonel Jacob Kujo, who is a commanding officer of the Achiase Jungle Warfare. Meanwhile, the former national chairman of the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, Samuel Ofosu-Aporfo, has vowed that the party will not be intimidated by any attempt to use the military to undermine the upcoming December 7 general elections.
We have condemned vigilantism in all its facets. And so we have been calling on the security agencies to ensure that they act impartially. They act as state security agencies and not party security agencies. But then the NDC will not sit down and allow anybody to change the will of the people. We will resist it with all our might. And so any soldier who thinks that we will be threatened that when we finish voting, go and sleep, NDC supporters, don't go and sleep. After voting, remain vigilant and watch until every vote is counted and results are declared and John Mahama is declared as the President of the Republic of Ghana. We are not going to sleep and we will not be intimidated by any military officer. Otherwise, they will kill all of us. And I can assure you that we will come in our hundreds and thousands and we will come to the police stations, we will protect the ballot, we will protect the integrity of the elections, and we will not be intimidated by any threat from the security agencies. And I call on the IGP, who is the chairman of the National Security Task Force, to ensure that professionalism is exhibited. Because this election, the stakes are high, and Ghanaians' lives are at stake, and we will not allow anybody to take the will of the people and subvert it.
Well, and that's Samuel Ofosu-Aporfo, who is the former national chairman of the NDC. Let's stay a while longer on this. We've been joined on the phone line by security analyst Adib Sani. Adib, thank you very much for joining us here on the Star Midday News. First of all, what do you make of Lieutenant Colonel Jacob Kujo's pronouncement about beating anybody who attempts to foment trouble in the upcoming elections? That is, if the police calls on the military to intervene.
Well, his statements were unfortunate. They were irresponsible, and as an officer, and considering his rank, I mean, I wouldn't expect him to say those things. And so he should be reprimanded for making those remarks, because they are mob-like remarks, and they are jungle-like, and have no place whatsoever in our democracy, in as much as we detest persons who decide to take matters into their own hands during elections. We should be mindful of the fact that Ghana is a country that is governed by the rule of law. So even if you catch a serial killer who might have killed 100 people, you are still not in a position to beat him. But for you to say that when you come, you will not ask any questions but beat, I think it's most irresponsible. And as a soldier, as a peacemaker, someone who is supposed to ensure there is peace, I'm really gobsmacked and disappointed that he would say such a thing. And I expect the military to reprimand him. If not, you see, what he said is causing sections of the political divide to also come and say yes. I mean, just listen to Ofosu-Aporfo. No, we are coming out in the thousands. And so for me, the military man spoke like a politician rather than, the soldier that he is.
And moving forward, considering that Dr. Dampare, for example, when he addressed the media talking about the election security task force and how they're going to handle the elections, saying they are going in with a de-escalation mindset, what should be the posturing of the military moving forward so that some of these tensions don't continue to rise?
That is the thing. I mean, the power of de-escalation, it always works like 90% of the time. But if they come hard and you also come hard, it becomes a problem, okay? So that is why we are saying the military should have no place at polling stations. Theirs is to engage in patrols alongside the police. The military only comes in when the police is overwhelmed and they need backup. That is when the military, but we don't want the military anywhere around any police station. They can be positioned at central positions, at central locations, and have the polling stations accessible to them in no time. But we wouldn't want the situation where soldiers with guns are at polling stations because it intimidates people. And I know many people who are intimidated at the sight of guns or even the military. And we are in a democratic era. We are not under a military regime. So I wouldn't expect the military to play a forefront role in this election.
Very well, Adib Sani, thank you very much for speaking to us here on the Star Midday News. Adib Sani is a security analyst, and it's time for sports. And Christian is in the studio with the details in the sports. Christian, what is trending in sports today?
Well, Lantam, the Executive Council of the Ghana Football Association has dissolved the Black Stars Management Committee with immediate effect following the team's dismal performances during the 2025 African Cup of Nations qualifier. Ghana struggled in recently concluded qualifiers, losing 3 games and drawing 3 games across the period, playing 6 games without a win. The West African powerhouse finished bottom on the standings in Group F, derailing the team's AFCON qualification chances. For the first time in 20 years, the Black Stars will miss the African Cup of Nations after falling short in Group F. The last time Ghana failed to qualify for the Cup's biggest event was back in 2004. Following a crunch meeting yesterday, the Ghana Football Association has decided to dissolve the Black Stars Management Committee after qualification failure. The FA are expected to constitute a new management committee to steer affairs in the subsequent games. Meanwhile, the Ghana Football Association has also announced that the Executive Council will decide on Otuado's future next week, Wednesday, November 28. The Football Association's leadership failed to reach a conclusive decision regarding the future of Coach Otuado Blasters technical team after they failed to qualify for the 2025 African Cup of Nations tournament for the first time in 20 years. Under Coach Otuado's guidance, Ghana did not win a single match in their 6 qualifying games, losing 3 games and drawing 3, ultimately finishing bottom of Group F, which included Niger, Sudan, and Angola. Despite this result, the debate over Coach Otuado's future as head coach of the Black Stars remains contentious.
Well, it remains contentious indeed. I believe he said that he will not resign.
He said that, but then it will all depend when the ESCO members meet him next week, Wednesday, November 28th, to discuss or for him to explain why he failed to qualify with the team.
Right.
So,
Very well. Thank you very much, Christian Kobi Kwashi there, bringing us the latest in the world of sports. Reminding you that you're still listening to the Star Midday News here on Star 103.5 FM, and we are live across our affiliates all over the country.
Star News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Zeps 95.9 FM in Zebila, Nissim 100.1 FM in Lamshao, MyStar Radio in the USA, also live on Facebook on Star 103.5 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Star 103.5 FM, Star News, informed, in depth, in touch.
Star 103.5 FM, the Star Midday News, and it's time for the campaign Just tuning in to Star 103.5 FM. You're listening to the campaign trail, and on the campaign trail, we want to track the various campaigns of all the political parties and how they are communicating to the masses, trying to convince the masses to vote for them in the upcoming elections. You know that in the next 16 days, Ghana goes to the polls to go and vote. That will be on December 7. You are going to choose your member of parliament, and you're going to choose who becomes the next president of the Republic of Ghana. And all these political parties are crisscrossing the country, mounting various campaign platforms, making promises, all in a bid to get you to believe in them and vote for them in the upcoming elections. But ultimately, the choice rests with you. Which message is resonating with you very well? Which message do you not want to hear? Do you see the integrity of any of the candidates as intact? Do you believe that Party A or Party B is the one to lead Ghana to the promised land? Eventually, you will have to decide. Or are you one of those individuals who wants to sit home and not go and vote because you're just tired of the constant politicking without any progress? Where do you fall? Whatever be the case, you would have to endure whatever comes after the December 7 election. If it is a continuation of the MPP government, you will have to be in it. If it is the return of the NDC, you will have to be in it. And so what I would say is that don't sit on your oars and let others choose for you. When December 7 comes, go to the polls yourself. That is if you are eligible to vote and you have a voter's ID card, and go and exercise your franchise. It is a civic responsibility, and I urge you to take it very, very seriously. Now, in all of what is happening with regard to the upcoming election, we've got political parties trading accusations and counter-accusations against each other with regard to rigging. The Electoral Commission has assured that no one can rig the elections. Meanwhile, the NDC has been accusing the New Patriotic Party of trying to use the military to rig the election. You remember that they held a press conference not too long ago, indicating that Brigadier General Michael Opoku, because of his upliftment, or should I say his new appointment as a general officer commanding of the Central Command of the Ghana Armed Forces, because he's been lifted to that position, it is a position that he is going to use to foment trouble in the upcoming election and aid the New Patriotic Party to win the elections, because this is the same individual who was involved in dispatching men to Yawasu West Wagon to foment trouble. And the Justice and Short Commission found that he was guilty and he had a role to play in all of this, and there was a recommendation for him to be reprimanded. So why is such an individual being promoted to this very sensitive office within the military if it is not to rig the elections? Well, the NDC have been asked to provide evidence to this effect. As to whether or not the evidence is going to come, they say that they know what they are talking about. Meanwhile, you go to the camp of the NPP, and the national organizer of the NPP, Harry Nanabuachi, is accusing the NDC of deliberately recruiting thugs within the strongholds of the New Patriotic Party to also foment trouble and rig the elections in the upcoming December 7 polls. So who is saying the truth and who is just blowing hot air? All of this is because the elections are coming up. It is very interesting how the elections are shaping up to be. But I'll also tell you on the campaign trail this afternoon is that do not let the hot air that these political parties are blowing compel you to do anything untoward, because Dr. George Akufu-Dampare of the Ghana Police Service has assured that anyone who tries to foment trouble in the upcoming elections will face the full rigors of the law. Well, on the campaign trail, let's go to Obuasi, because former MC for Obuasi, Richard Ofori-Agyeman, has ridiculed the claim by the governing New Patriotic Party that the NDC is training thugs in the Ashanti region to disrupt the upcoming polls. The NDPP claimed that it has uncovered a secret recording of leading NDC members engaging thugs to disrupt the elections. Mr. Agyeman says that these claims are false. Well, he spoke earlier on the Morning Star with Lily Mohammed. Listen.
Times when I have to talk about people who are close and known to me, it becomes very difficult for me to describe them. But to say the least, I'll say his allegation is very silly. Who is in his right frame of mind will do a security meeting and have media men cover it? Which person? Because this meeting that he's talking about, that took place last week at Mauli Hotel in Obuasi. Your reporter, Isaac Bediakon, was there. There were reporters from TV3 there. The reporters from Adum FM and Adum TV there, and the local Obuasi media was present. So who in his right frame of mind will do a secret meeting aimed at recruiting thugs to disrupt elections and then invite media people to come and cover it? The allegation is silly. The very day that we had last Tuesday when we had that meeting, Baumia was in Obuasi. So the leadership of the Small Scale Miners Association, led by Mr. Kofi Adams, popularly known as Kuma, moved away from the Baumia event and came to Mauli. So all the people that came had been engaged by the Baumia campaign in the Obasi East constituency. Were they arranging with the same team that came into our meeting to foment trouble? I mean, this is silly. To say the least, it is silly. I mean, I don't know how to describe it, but this allegation is silly. We
So that's the former MCs of Obuasi saying that these allegations are silly. Well, staying in the camp of the NDC, the immediate past national chairman of the main opposition, NDC, Dr. Samuel Ofuswampofo, is expressing strong optimism in the party's chances of winning back some seats and other seats held by the new patriotic party in the eastern region. Dr. Ofuswampofo's claims is that the NDC is gaining ground and recognition of, superior putting across a superior message. Now, let's go to the eastern region where John Dramani Mahama has been campaigning. My colleague Abdul Hanan Adam is joining us on the line to shed a bit more light on what the NDC stalwarts who have been campaigning in the region have been saying. Abdul Hanan, welcome to the bulletin. What can you tell us about John Dramani Mahama's campaign today amidst all these assurances that Samuel Ofuswampofo has been given that the NDC is strong in the eastern region?
Well, Lantam, it's day 4 of the campaign tour. Tomorrow is expected to be the last day, but so far, 21 constituencies covered so far out of 33 constituencies. Today and tomorrow, the flag bearer of the NDC is expected to cover the rest of the constituencies. And currently, we are in Donkokrom, which is in the Afram Plains North constituency, where the seat is being held by the NDC. And looking forward into 2024, party intends to consolidate their gains, just as the immediate past chairman of the party says. And currently, shortly, we'll be heading to Mami Krobo, which is also in the Afram Place South constituency. And these areas are where the NDC actually holds dearly, because when it comes to the Eastern region, the party does not really perform well. Even though we know that the Eastern region is the second home of the governing New Patriotic Party. But just as the party stalwarts are saying, given the current economic situation and given the state of social infrastructure in the area, which the party or the governing party has promised and somehow have not been able to fulfill, especially the road connecting Mami, Krobo, and Tukokro, is in a terrible state. Former president, while addressing the NDC supporters at the rally, said that the NDC will not turn its back on the people of the area, just as he claims the governing party has done. So these are some of the messages that he's been sharing, including the Farmer Service Center, especially when this particular area is predominantly a farming community where there are a lot of farming or agricultural activities. He says that the NDC's manifesto promise of Farmer Service Center, which will support farmers to improve agriculture and create wealth, especially for the youth. He says that this will benefit the people of the area. He talks about also enhancing the free senior high school policy. The schools that are here that are day schools, he says that the next NDC government or a future government of the NDC under its leadership would consider adding additional infrastructure so that a lot of it will create access and then improve quality teaching and learning. He consistently talks about feeding, which currently there's a whole lot of confusion about it, where the FDA and the Ministry of Education are currently investigating these issues. He says that the next NDC government would make that better by decentralizing it to the local level, so that the headmasters, in collaboration with the local Ghana Education Service officers, will take care of those issues to make it easy and take care of the kids who are in school. So these are some of the messages he has shared in Lantam.
Very well, Abdul Hanan Adam, thank you very much for bringing us that update. And he is with the NDC campaign. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. He is the flag bearer of the NPP. Well, he's been working around the clock to ensure that they win in the northern region. The flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has commenced a 4-day mob-up campaign in the area, and he's expected to campaign in 7 constituencies and then wrap up with a regional rally on Sunday in Tamale. My colleague Musa Lansa has been touring with the vice president and flag bearer of the NPP. He joins us on phone to bring us an update. Musa Lansa, what can you report from the vice president's campaign of the northern region?
Well, Lantam, we're just wrapping up Community Connect. That's a rally with the supporters of the party in the Kumbungu constituency of the northern region. Earlier, the flag bearer of the MPP paid a courtesy call on the Kumbungna Abu Idrisu, where the Kumbungna admonished him to make sure that there's no rancor between him and then former President Mahama. That's the flag bearer of the NDC, since they are both coming from the northern parts of the country. Speaking there, he told the paramount chief that yes, it's true there are two, but when you look at the record of former President Mahama as a former president and he as the vice president, he thinks that it is prudent for people from this part of the country to choose him over the former president. Currently, the rally I told you just ended. The finance minister has been speaking. He has a message for the NDC. He says they should stop going around threatening violence and also spreading rumors that there will be violence on election day. And that they should remember that the same blood that runs through the NDC members is the same blood that runs through them. So they are ready for them on election day. So from here in Kumbogo, he will be moving to the Tolon constituency, where he'll be paying a courtesy call on the Tolon Major Suleimana, and then also have a radio interview before commissioning a mosque in Tolong, and then the Community Connect before moving to the Tamale South constituency, where he'll be engaging with the people there.
Thank you very much, Musa Lansa, for bringing us that update from the vice president's campaign. And you're still listening to the campaign trail here on Starr FM. Still on elections this time around, we're going to be taking a look at security, because the Ghana Police Service has met with representatives of political parties on preparations ahead of the polls. And that's one very important area of the elections that we need to cover, because we have heard Dr. George Akufu-Dampare assure that they are going to ensure that this election is free and fair, because he's the head of the Election Security Task Force, and they have that ultimate responsibility to ensure that security is assured in the elections. And he said that the police are going into these elections with or should I say, with a mindset of de-escalation. They don't want there to be trouble. They don't want there to be fighting. They want to make sure that everything is calm, cool, collected, that the polls are conducted in a peaceful manner, that people exercise their franchise without fear or favor, and that everything moves on smoothly as far as security for the elections. Well, that should do it for the campaign trail. That should do it for today's edition of Campaign Trail here on Starr 103.5 FM. Thank you very much for tuning in to the Start Midday News and, of course, following through with the Campaign Trail. You catch us again tomorrow here at Starr 103.5 FM at 12 o'clock. For more news, log on to starfm.com.gh. My name is Lantam Papanko. Have a wonderful day.
Solution to a stressful lifestyle.
Hello, Odo. Wake up, oh. Now we've got places